Xia here. How is everyone doing? Starting from today, we're going to develop a Flappy Bird games. And for this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to create a JFrames for our games, which is the main window for our games. So let's begin. First of all, I'm going to create a new project. And I'll call this project Flappy Birds. And click Finish. Remember to select Java SE, or else your code won't compile. Now I'm going to create a new class file. I will call it game. And this class will be our main class. And you can click public static void main too, so the main class will automatically be here. Now, we're going to do it like this. We're going to extend our game class as a JFrames. And don't forget to import JFrames here. Import javax.swing.jframe. Now, after JFrame class is being imported, I'm going to first of all create a constructor for the game class. Since it does not require any parameters, you can just simply left the bracket blank, and you can call simply call set visible equals to true. And we're going to declare a game instance in our main functions. New game. Since it does not require any parameters, you can simply put an empty bracket in between. Now, if you run the game, you will see a small window has appeared, and there's two problems with this window. First of all, you need to click it in order to interact with it. The second problem is that it is resizable, and we do not want our game window to be resizable because it will mess up the image we have in the scenes. So, in order to fix this problem, I'm going to set resizable to false. I'm going to request focused. And also, I'm going to set the height and the width for our windows. And since we are developing an iOS game, and the size of iPhone 6 screen is approximately 1130 times 720, so the ratios is about 1.5. So we will follow the same ratio to declare our screen height. We'll set it to 700, and for screen height, we'll set it to the same ratio as the iPhone. Now, I'll call set size method here to set the size of our screen. The first one is the height, and the second one is the height. The first one is the width, and the second one is the height. Now, if we run the program again, you can see that we have a pretty window appear on the upper left corner of the screens. Now, there's still problem with the game window. We want it to be in the middle of the screen. So what you can do is you can set location relative to nothing, and then the window will appear in the middle of the screen. There's another problem with the programs. If I open the list of programs running in the background, you can see that even though we close the game window, the program is not terminated. This happens because Java doesn't know that once you close the window, you are also terminating the programs. So you need to tell the Java, you can use set default close operations. Tell the Java that you wish to exit the program when you close the windows. So let's see if it works. Now if we run the programs, you can see that the program is running here. If we close it, it ends. So it works. The next step we need to do is to add the background to our games. So for the next half of the lesson, I'm going to teach you how to fill the backgrounds. Now I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to call it background. And I'm going to declare two variables. The first one is called background width, and the second one is called background height. And I'm going to create a constructor for the background class that takes in two parameters. The first one is width and the second one is height. And I will assign width equals to our background width, and the height equals to our background height. I'm also going to construct another method which is called render. And this render method takes in one parameters, g, and it is a graphic parameters. So we should also need to import java.awt.graphics, and I'll explain later what graphics is. So let's go back to the game.java. So I'm going to declare a background instance. I'll say background. And in order to create a background instance, we would need to give it two parameters, which is the height and the width of the background. And the reason why we need these two variables is because you can see that in a Flappy Bird games, the background doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. It ends before the floor started. So we can do it. There's two ways we can do it. We can either fill the entire scene with the background, and we can then draw another layer of the floor on top of it, or we can draw the background to where the floor starts. So you know that the width of the background is still the width of the background is still equals to width of the screens, and we will reserve a height of 200 for the, let's say 105. We'll reserve a height of 150 for the floor. And this is how we do it. We're going to say that screen the height, the width is equals to the screens, and the height is equals to screens height minus 100. Now we have a background instance. We can call these render methods. But before we do that, I'm going to show you the two ways to render the JFrame screens. Now, one of the ways you can do is that you can repaint the whole screen of the JFrames. And the other method you can use is that you will draw another layer on top of it. And we're going to use the second methods. So before I do that, I'm going to declare another method called startGame. So and we are going to use a variable type called buffer strategy, buffer strategy, and we'll call it buffer s equals to get buffer strategy. and get buffer EDCI. And yes, you also need to remember to import this class as always. Import java.awt.image.buffer strategy. Or else you won't be able to use this method or this variable type. So what this get buffer strategy does is that it tries to go into this JFrame and search if it can find any drawable layers. And if there is no drawable layers, it will return a null. So if buffer s gets a null from get buffer strategy, this indicates that there is no drawable buffers in the JFrames. So what we're going to do is that we are going to create those drawable layers ourselves by calling create buffer strategy 2. And I will talk about what this 2 does later. So, and I'll assign this buffer. I will assign this buffer to the new layers we have already created. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the graphics from one of the drawable layers. Get drawable graphics, and you'll need to import this graphic too. Import this. So import java.awt.graphics, and now after we have the graphic of the buffer, we're going to pass the graphic to the background instance, and call the render class to render the graphic. Now, after the graphic is being rendered, we can just displace the buffer onto the script. We can do it by call buffers.display.show. And we can release the memories, which is inside the graphic, these variables. Now I'm going to create a while loop which continuously call these methods, and I will call start game inside the while loop. And if I run the program right now, you can see that the scene is being rendered. Now, I also want to explain you how this buffer strategy works. Now, first of all, let's only call this method once. You can see that if I run this program, there will be nothing on the scenes. And I will give you can pause the video right now and think about it. And when you come back, I will give you the answer to this question. So the reason is because, first of all, let's look at how create buffer strategy works. So create buffer strategy create two sets of drawable layers, two sets of drawable buffers on top of JFrames. And how this get buffer strategy works is that let's say if you have two sets of drawable buffers, the first set of buffers will be displayed on the screen when the second set of buffers is being rendered in the back. So when you call this method again, the second set of buffers will be displayed on the screen when the first set of buffer is being rendered in the back by the programs. So when you call this method only once, you will create two empty buffer sets. And when you call background.render, this will render only one set of buffer while the other set of buffer is being displayed onto the screen. So since both sets of buffers are emptied, you will see nothing on the script while the other set of buffer is being rendered in the back. However, if you call this method again, the second set of buffer which finished rendered will be displayed on the script, and while the first set buffer is being rendered in the back. And now if you call this the third time, you will still see the background, the blue background, and this background is come from the first set of buffers. And this is all for today. Thank you so much for listening.